This week on MotoMan, I meet the engineering wizard of Lotus. Together we've met the people who get to decide the way a car looks, but what about the way it drives? Who gets to make this decision? Especially on a car that's all about driving. Let's meet the guy who's been handed the crown jewels of engineering.
MotoMan, I presume.
Guilty.
My name's Matt Becker. I'm Executive Engineer of Vehicle Dynamics at Lotus.
So you are exactly the man I'm looking for.
I hear you want to understand a little bit more about Lotus.
That's why I'm here.
I've got just the place.
For you.
A Lotus must be a car that the input you put into the steering gives the expected output. So as you can feel, just like the Elite and Exceed you've been in, the car gives you all the information you need from the moment you turn the wheel. The car doesn't surprise you in the middle of the corner. It doesn't suddenly change direction. Another thing a Lotus always must do is if you're in the middle of the corner and you feel that you just want to tighten the line slightly, all you have to do is just to move the accelerator slightly, and I'll show you, the car will just tighten its line. It won't oversteer, it will just slightly tighten its line. So not only do you steer the car with the steering wheel, you can also actually do it with the throttle. So if I just want to adjust the angle slightly, you'll see the car will just tighten its line, but it won't suddenly break into oversteer.
I can feel that you were doing that by feathering your foot.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
pretty
Just
amazing.
adjust the throttle angle very slightly. The car must always ride in a sense so that it feels equal in each direction, so the direction is not always down, not always up. It's actually equal around a centre line.
How do you define this? Is this something that was handed down by Colin Chapman himself?
Yeah, it's built up. My father was here, he's only just recently retired, but he was here 40 years and I learned a lot of things off him.
40 years your father was here?
Yeah, it was 44 years.
So you've actually followed into the family business.
Exactly, yeah.
No wonder why you drive like this.
Yeah, basically, I've been coming to Lotus since I was, 3 or 4 years old. I was coming in here when Colin Chapman was here, and I can remember meeting him when I was, 6 or 7 years old. So over 30 years ago.
If there's any man that knows what a Lotus should be, it sounds like you should know.
Well, yeah, the responsibility seems to be handed on to me since my father's left. My father led the Evora project. The dynamic side was kind of controlled by me, but it was nice to have somebody within the project who had such a historical knowledge of Lotus and could occasionally drive the car and say, yep, that's exactly what I think it should be, just as a little bit of support, really.
So a couple of years you were the crown prince of Lotus, and now you're kind of like the heir apparent.
It seems to be, yeah. So it's quite a responsibility, so I've got to make sure I continue to get it right.
Well, my stomach's telling me you're getting it right now.
And the other good thing about the Evora is the brakes. The brakes are absolutely phenomenal. We've measured stopping distances which would embarrass some of the companies who are deemed to be the benchmark for brakes. Well, I think we are now.
That's something I've noticed with all Lotus cars.
Yeah.
You know, most cars they have a problem with fade
Yeah.
when you have fancy brakes in them.
Yeah.
But even my dinky Elise back a couple of years ago I had,
Yeah.
never had fade in my brakes.
No. But it was a conscious decision when the Elise was born. The brakes on the Elise were way oversized. They were
Yeah.
oversized because we always knew with that car that in the future we'd have more powerful versions. So being a small company,
Yeah.
you could argue that you're carrying more weight than you need to, but being a small company, the amount of development investment you need to put into developing brakes, you need to make sure you are mindful on what's happening in the future in terms
Yeah.
of more powerful versions. As you can see, we can continue to drive around here all day. I mean, when we were doing the development on the Evora, we went to the Nürburgring quite a lot for many reasons. Not just for brakes, but for stability control, tyre testing. So the car had a severe punishing around the Nürburgring. And actually I think we did 5 one-week trips, and we did them on the same brakes. And the only reason we changed the brakes is because we thought that we should do, not because they needed changing. And you can go there and do huge numbers of laps.
Yeah.
I mean, you never get fade. The brakes will not fade.
So you guys actually do all this in-house, all of the brakes
Yeah.
in-house.
Well, the brakes are actually made by AP Racing, but we have some quite good brake engineers here,
Yeah.
and also the brake engineers at AP Racing are very good. And technically, we work together and come up with the solutions that we've come up with. We also, for our ABS, ESP calibration, we use Bosch, and Bosch have we have a very good relationship with Bosch. They're always keen to try new ideas. They do 80% of the work, but we add the 20%, which makes it a Lotus. I mean, as you feel when you drive around, the traction control system is actually working on some of the corners, but you don't actually feel it. I can feel it because I know what it's doing.
Yeah.
But so we try to make systems that don't interfere with the driver until it's absolutely necessary.
So brakes, some of the settings and suspension.
Yeah.
What about engine? What defines Lotus when it comes to engine?
Well, the engine is, as you know, it comes from Toyota. But what we do at Lotus is we use our own engine management control system, and the engine management group have managed to create our own kind of noise, our own kind of feeling with the engine. I mean, most people are surprised when you tell them it's a Toyota engine. Initially they're like, oh, it's going to be boring.
Yeah.
As you can hear and feel the response of the engine, the engine's certainly not boring.
Do you ever see yourself doing your own engines?
It's just, with the volume of cars we have, it's almost impossible, because the amount of investment and development, the money you need to do your own engine is just absolutely huge.
Yeah.
So, and at the end of the day, if we can take a reliable engine and actually make it fit the car, give you the level of response from an engine side that matches the chassis and gives us the terms of performance we need, then we'll continue to go that route.
So walk me through the track here. Give me a tutorial of the line.
Okay, so this is a factory straight. We do a lot of driver training here, so we have cones laid out on the circuit. So you saw the red cone, now we have an apex cone, another red cone. So this is third gear, we call this a complex, then into Clark corner. The yellow cone is an apex, and then you move out to the right. Slight brake, because this next corner is an off-camber corner, so you need to be a bit careful through here. So there's your apex.
Yeah.
You must compromise one corner to get to the turning in point for the next one. This is when we redesigned the track 10 years ago, we made this as technical circuit as we could in the areas we were changing to try and make it challenging for people who are going to come for drive trail. It is. I mean, the section we're now about to go on is part of the old runway. But when we modify the circuit, we put some gentle curves in there, which are very good because they've got bumps in the middle, so it can upset the car in the middle of the corner. So it's a very, very useful facility for development. So as you say, these are your apexes. The next corner is the fastest corner on the circuit, which is Windsock, which if you weren't in the car, you'd probably be doing 20 miles an hour faster.
Oh, you're going easy on me today. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's very
you said
kind
you were
of you.
sweating, you're getting hot and sweaty on it. You brake down to third gear for the chicane. Again, very good for dynamic assessment of the car, because the car has to high speed change direction very quickly. And then back onto the factory straight. Exit that corner at second gear up to third gear. gear, so we're approaching 120 miles an hour now. Then brake.
Brake, brake, brake.
Third gear.
Oh, I felt the back end on that one.
Exactly. Just lift off the throttle slightly to change the attitude of the car, and it just allows your line to tighten slightly, but the car doesn't suddenly break into oversteer.
You ever thought of getting into the professional drift circuit? It's getting big in the US.
Yeah, I used to. I competed. Autocar magazine every year used to do a drift challenge, and as myself, Gavin, who also works here, he won 2 or 3 times. But I came 4th once and second, and it was against all the other professionals within the industry. So
really?
Lotus as a team of drivers have always done very well. The reason for that is we have a steering pad here, which I can show you how we practice.
I think we should try it.
Shall I try it?
Come on, one in a row. Do as the rules.
Why don't I switch the traction control off, otherwise that's going to hinder us a little bit.
Okay.
And then I'll show you what we can do. So yeah, 10 years ago I started learning how to oversteer. Actually maybe 15 years ago now. Forget how old I
Remind me
am.
how long you've been at Lotus?
I've been here 22 years now. So I started when I was
you were 10?
16. No, yeah, you're being kind. No, I started when I was 16.
That's the way you parked your
Yeah,
hair.
exactly, yeah. Just off the side, yeah. I used to come out here quite often, probably more than I should have done. Don't tell my boss at the time that. And we just used to practice oversteer.
Whoa!
As you can see,
Drifting in a Lotus.
car is,
People like to do it with Nissan 240s. I know a guy that does it with Mustangs.
yeah.
Vipers. This is a new one for me.
Yeah. Again, attention to detail when we were designing the Evora, I wanted increased steering lock so that when you were oversteering the car, you had the ability to balance the car at a high angle and always get the car back again.
I can smell
Yeah,
that.
yes. Is that from your pants or from the tyres?
Oh, thank you. I'll be here all week trying to feel. Tip your waitresses. What kind of product do you want to do in the future? What's the next step for you?
Well, the next step is actually we're working on an automatic version of the Evora because many marketplaces.
you, an
Yeah, I
automatic?
know it's terrible.
Come on.
But the marketplace, desires one basically. I mean,
Okay.
personally, I drive a Golf GTI with DSG. It's kind
I
of
would never think that.
Yeah,
of you.
because I like automatics. Maybe because I'm 38 years old now, I'm getting a bit lazy.
You're an old man.
Well, you're American. You should like automatics.
I refuse to own one.
Okay.
Never have owned one in my life, as a matter of fact.
So in terms of that's what we've been working on of late. So I'm basically involved with some of the shift quality because my position now is not just vehicle dynamics anymore, it's called vehicle attributes. So it's anything to do with the whole car in a total to try and make sure all areas of the car are as good as the dynamics are.
Yeah.
So that's my...
And what about beyond the Evora? What do you see yourself? What do you want to do? If I were to say, here's your wish, go off and develop.
That would give away our game. That would give away what we may be working on. Okay, so I've done a lot of talking, a lot of explaining. You're looking a little bit green, so I think it's about time you had a go at driving. You up for that?
I think so. Let me show you an American can do it.
Oh dear.
Okay, and it's gear up and over.
That's the one.
Is that how it works?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
And then gently lift the clutch.
No drive.
No.
Okay, so you were 120 in the straight.
Exactly. You see the distance.
I'm
you
only
see the
90.
You see the red cone.
I see the
You
right
need to
cone.
gently brake and start to turn to the left. So brake a bit more. That's it. Now turn to the right. And then over to the right. Then you need to gently brake a little bit more because this is the off camber corner.
Okay. Aim for the cone you knocked
Yep.
over.
Yeah. Aim for the next cone. And then get over to the right. That's it. Little brake. Okay, in the distance you see the next red cone, you need to brake before that. Start the brake, stay in this gear. Then the next corner, start the brake again and down to second.
That was a little rough on the dismount.
Yeah, basically.
Whoa! There we go. See, I drifted a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
You're right, it is very balanced. I was able to get that back in quickly. Mustang would
Over
do
to
that.
the left a little bit, next cone is
Third. Okay, so this must have been the old runway.
This is the old runway, yeah. So a little bit to the left, start to brake. Bit harder, bit harder. Good. Over to the left a bit, down to second, so brake down to second. Good.
Okay, so we've gone a couple of laps.
Yep.
Areas of improvement.
Yep, the only thing you need to do is to make the steering inputs a little bit smoother.
Steering input smoother.
Yeah.
So how do I do that?
Instead of moving the wheel, just have one input and keep that input. Because all you're doing is you're building up and reducing the load in the tyre all the time. If you do it nice and progressively and
So that's
not so
disturbing the car.
aggressively, it all disturbs the car, yeah. Now down to second gear. So one steering input, nice and smooth.
There's a duck about it.
Yeah. Much better. Now the car feels more relaxed and you're ultimately driving
It
faster.
does, actually.
Driving is about vision as well, so you know it's like with, I mean, my hobby's water skiing. Where I look is where I go. Same as snow skiing, same as snowboarding.
Yeah.
But driving's the same. Where you look is where you go.
So Matt suggests that I step up my track game, trade the Evora, and meet Kermit. Something tells me that Jim Henson had nothing to do with this frog. Since my visit, Lotus has announced they're going to introduce 5, count them, 5 new cars between now and 2015, some with increased horsepower and weight. But it's Lotus's crown prince of engineering that's going to ensure that Colin Chapman's founding principles are going to be applied to future product. Wait a minute, there's 3 pedals. What's the third for? Santa Maria Madre di Dio.
Tyre manufacturers call it.
Just saw you grab the old shit here.
Nice. Yeah, the left one's the clutch.
Thank you, Oriel. Very kind of
No
you.
problem.
How about I ask you for one convertible car?
We're not working on one.
Really?
No, we're not.
Not working on one, huh?
No.
Gotta get some sort of like open roof option here.
Use a pair of scissors.